Don't ask. I know it's insanely late. I've had one of those days. I've been dealing with stuff that I didn't want to deal with. I would have much rather been doing this. But it needed to be done. Basically, my ID expired. My driving license. And it's the only ID I have, so like, oh my god. I had to go through the renewal process today, and it's just taken pretty much this long. I had to. Long story. It's taken all day. Anyway, it's in the post. Within 3 weeks, I should be a real person again. Alright, so I've just done a build for mobile. Well, it's the same build for everything, but the changes I made recently are specifically for mobile. Okay, so now we have our tap, click or tap to start, which is great for mobile. We could actually change this. This is really easy to change, actually. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if at this point we probably don't know which one it is, because the control scheme doesn't get updated until you do this, actually. So we probably couldn't change it to say tap to start. Anyway, I digress. We can full screen straight away. This actually works even better on mobile than it does on PC, and the reason why is on PC you first click into the web window. Doesn't register in the game itself, it just activates the web window, so you have to actually click that twice. But anyway, whatever. Oh, that's wrong. Okay, that's not working. So our first issue is, let's address these one at a time. Okay, so our Control-C keyboard and mouse. This is our setup script. It's not under, there it is. It's in core. Do we have system? Yeah. I've started moving these because I know for a fact that it's slightly better performance if you don't do these and you actually just set it. So each time I'm coming across it, I'm just going to update it so that it's hard linked. Okay, so we do have access to system, so I'll probably just run it in update then, because I'm not sure the order that things will happen in. Because I'm pretty sure that I already say, yeah, it says here, look, right, on enable, update menu. Yeah, I'm surprised that's not working, actually. So if this isn't updating keyboard and mouse to say touch, then maybe I'm calling update menu early. Yeah, too early. Let's find out where I call it. I'm pretty sure I call it from cloud. Update menu. Yeah. Okay, I do. Okay, the reason why. So what I do is I log the player in, and then I update the menu. And the reason for that is the menu needs to know if this is a first login or not. Because if it's a first login, and this part is working, this says load UID. And this says new game. If it's not a first login, this says continue and is automatically highlighted. And this says new game, but this one is selected by default. So that's working because this is not its default view, but this isn't working because I didn't interact with the screen before this completed. So it doesn't know what the control scheme is. So best solution for that I'll tell you what might be the best way to do it. I'm just going to do it in update. It's fine. It's not going to be expensive or anything. I'll just put it in update. Oh, god damn it. Well, actually, in update, I can just update menu, right? We'll just say update menu on every frame. Now we don't even need to call it. There's no point. Yeah, there's no real point in calling it now. If uninitialized, then initialize, and then set the defaults depending on the context. So I can actually go back to cloud now and not update menu because it'll be doing it on every frame anyway. Okay, so that'll fix that. All right, so play a new game because we cleared our cache, so we don't have a game to continue. So we lost our ID. So we're ID 27. I've wired up buttons on these left and right so we can select our character. This also works for mouse as well, which is quite nice. I really like her for some reason. She's cute. Let's choose her. Okay. And it's detected that we're on mobile. So I added this menu button because there was no way to bring up the menu. Yay! And there was no way to close it. But now there is. Oh, it didn't bring the menu button back though. Shit. Okay, that's another bug. Give me a second. Shit. Yeah. Touch inputs. Do not restore. That's a really bad one. Yeah, we lost all our inputs actually. Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying. I can't even get out of full screen. There we go, we have to do that. This should continue a game now though. It should keep us logged in and let us, there we go, continue. Go full screen. And we've got our touch controls back, but for some reason, it pushed us out of full screen. I'm not sure why. Whatever. Anyway, we can move the character with the joystick. So that's good. And we can move the camera. Yeah, it was too sensitive, but I've changed the settings now. I think that's probably about right for defaults. I just guessed. Oh, is it inverted? I feel like that should look up rather than down. Like, I feel like it should be the other way. I don't know. Personal preference. You know what? That's something I never allow the player to do, actually. I should offer them the vertical inversion if they wish. Alright, that would be jump. That would be sprint, which doesn't do anything because we don't have a sprint in this. So I need a button now for throwing a snowball. Now there's no way to aim on mobile because you would need two thumbs. You would need two right thumbs to do it. Because we could make this aim, right? But how are you gonna hold that down whilst also aiming with the camera? So I think what I need to do is I need to create a special auto aim system for mobile. Has to be done. So the way I envision it should work is as you're walking down the street, if you get close enough to a target, you get a reticle on your screen that lets you know that you can auto hit the target with a snowball, and I got to dumb it down for mobile, and then you just hit the snowball button. So we need to make this a snowball button. I also need an interact button, so I'll make like a third one here, I guess. And these are like default icons from the starter assets kit, so I want to customize these as well. But let's get the functionality down first. So yeah, I don't like the inverted stick personally, but some people might. But thinking about it, I should probably offer inversion as an option, to be completely honest. But that's working pretty good. But then we lose controls. Okay, so it's just... Okay. So we fixed that. Yay. When closing menu, touch inputs do not restore. Jesus. God! Okay. When closing menu. So the way I set it up is I set it up as a cheeky little disable game object menu. So there's my button close. Let me just get into it. So there's my button close, and I did an on click, and I just said set active menu to false. But I guess, yeah, we don't on disable. Okay, so what I need to do then, real easy fix, on menu hide needs to be added to on disable, so we know that that happens. So I just need a quick on disable. So there's my on enable. I like to put it after on enable. And we'll just say on disable, hide menu. Shit, what did I call it? Menu hide. On menu hide end. There. And on menu hide end just puts everything back the way it should be. Right, it re-enables the third person controller. Now what I've actually done for touch inputs is I thought the easiest way, because sometimes I want to show the touch inputs and sometimes I don't. Hold it, Tommy. Sometimes I want to show the touch inputs and sometimes I don't. So I was like, well, how am I going to sort of define that? So what I did is I made it so that if the third person controller is active, then touch inputs will be active. If third person controller is inactive, then vice versa. It's pretty obvious. And that seems to be good for that. So we'll test that when next we run. What was the other issue? Inversions. Oh no. That means I need a new control though, doesn't it? Yes. Why didn't I think of that? Which means I need to either make this a lot smaller so it fits, or I need to offer some kind of scrolling function, which I was trying desperately to avoid. But I might end up adding more stuff to this at some point, unless I want to like paginate it, like more options or whatever, page 1, page 2, something like that. I mean, can we categorize them? I mean, this is like visual. This is visual. This is audio. We could do audio visual as one option, stick them in audio visual, and then the rest is kind of controls, right? So we could set up 2 tabs and have audio visual and controls as 2 separate tabs. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to back up my original menu. Old settings. You can't see because my camera's in the way. I just called it old settings. Let's get rid of old settings. And at the moment, everything's under controls. So I could do controls AV for audio visual and controls controls, and then controls AV would be minus this, and controls control would be minus this. So if we're in AV, we get this. If we're in controls, we get this. Okay, so now I have space to move this down a little bit so we can set up some kind of tab control system. So tabby tabs. I mean, I could just use buttons, to be honest. So if I do Text Mesh Pro, and then these would have like corresponding L1, R1 buttons for controller. Why do I always put a TM Pro instead of a button when I want a button? I don't know. I'm not used to Text Mesh. I normally use a legacy, but I think for web, mind you, it worked fine. But the reason the web might have worked correctly on mine is maybe because I have that font installed, though. Maybe if you didn't have that font installed, you wouldn't see it. I don't know about that. I should test that. Anyway. Button. We want a fucking button, don't we? You fucking muppet. Alright. So these would be our like little tabs. Doesn't look very tab-like though, does it? We can make it look like a tab by just shaving some corners off. So if we want to make it look like a tab, oh shit, that's my driving license. Give me a second. Probably should show that. I hope you couldn't read that. Alright, let's hope you couldn't read that. It's expired anyway. Yeah, but I'm still the same fucking person. I haven't expired yet. Give it time. I will wonder. How's the best of us? Right, I feel like I'm expiring slowly. I feel like a bottle of moldy old milk. Alright, tab. So let's make a shape. Ooh, I don't know, 700 by 400 for now. It's gonna be way too big, but I just want to get a shape together. Let's make a new layer. Actually, let's make that black. Okay, and then I guess we'd go with, actually we could use shapes. Shapey shapes. Rounded rectangle. We start with a rounded rectangle. Good lord, what are you doing? Make it white. Make the outline slightly less white. How about that? There we go. Okay. What do tabs look like? They've got like a corner thing. Yeah, I get this weird error if the window loses focus as well, which is kind of weird. But I mean, it only happens if the window loses focus, so whatever. Not much I can do about it. Tab, I don't know, UI. Oh, that's not what good tabs look like. There you go. You can have them as square as you like. Yeah, to be fair, they just kind of look like the tops of buttons, but they only show the tops. So we could just hide them behind a solid top. So literally that would, hang on, not that, but How do I get rid of the outline? Well, rasterize that. We basically want to make it look square at the bottom though, right? Can't really do that. I was going to move it up, but that's just going to shrink it. I was going to do something like that, but yeah, it makes it square at the bottom, but because of the outline, does that to it. And we can fix that, because we could just do that. And then that. That's not, that's gross. It's disgusting. Get it out of here. Get it out of my sight. And then we could stroke it out. Stroke it out nice and stroke-like. You know what I mean. You've been there. We've all been there. Yeah, I think I like that. I think that's fine. It's tabby enough. It's tabby enough for me. It's tabby enough for... Remember that Cyndi Lauper song? It's tabby enough for me. It's tabby enough for me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Tabby enough for you. It's tabby enough. It's tabby enough. Tabby enough for me. Do you know I was actually... I don't know if I should tell you this, because then you'll know. Well, no, it's only my birthday. Whatever, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I was born on the same day as Cyndi Lauper. We share the same birthday. Isn't that amazing? Of all the people to share a birthday with, Cyndi Lauper. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. I only really know 3 songs that she's done. They're all good, though. There's obviously Girls Who Wanna Have Fun. That's a good one. That's probably her biggest hit. And then she kind of revived. What's really impressive is she revived it and did like a newer version of it. So like she had a hit with it originally in the 80s and 90s, whatever the hell it was, and then she sort of like re-released it in, I think it was the early 2000s, and it was like massively successful again, and added a bit of like Jamaican vibe to it. It was fucking really good. Then True Colors, which I also know Phil Collins did that song. I don't know which one of them wrote it. I think she wrote it actually. True Colors. And Good Enough for the Goonies. They're the only 3 songs by her that I know. Oh no, there is one more that's oh god, there is one more. What was that other song that she did? It was really, 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 really big. It's actually really, really good. Oh my god. I need to download this Cyndi Lauper Greatest Hits or something. There's one song I'm forgetting about. Time After Time. Yeah. God damn it, I love that song. It's so good. I know that one's a Roy Orbison song. Yeah, I do know. I kind of know how that one sounds. I mean, she sounds like she sounds, doesn't she? They all kind of sound, you know. Do you imagine her whiny ass voice? You can imagine her singing pretty much any song. I don't really know any of these other ones. Okay, so I guess I know 4 songs. And I think to be honest, this one's my favorite. Time After Time is such a good song. God damn, that's such a good song. It's so good. If you're lost and you look and you will find me. Oh, it's so good. Time after time. You know what? I'm proud to share a birthday with Cyndi Lauper. You could share a birthday with much worse people. You could have like Hitler's birthday or something. That wouldn't be good. So you know what? I'm not ashamed. I'm proud. I don't know if I'm proud, but I'm not ashamed. It's the next best thing. I'm going to shrink it down because it doesn't want to be too big. We want to try and keep our thingies down. Is that its actual thing? Even that's probably a little too big. But we can. The thing is, we can resize things like in Unity and give them like maximums and stuff. So it is better to make stuff like it's better to make assets bigger than you want them, and then just like scale them down after the fact. Because scaling them up is a pain in the ass. Scaling them down is pretty easy. So that would be my advice. If anybody, not that anybody else asking for it. Maybe somebody in the future, you know. Maybe Cyndi Lauper's great granddaughter is watching this in the future. Hey, don't be ashamed, all right? She made some good songs. Hello in the future, Cyndi Lauper's great granddaughter. And maybe she, for whatever reason, she wants to hand make, which nobody does anymore because everything's run by AI. She wants to hand make Unity games like she's some kind of cave girl. She's just feeling like a cave girl. She just wants to, and she finds this video and it's like, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm absolutely certain that is going to happen in the future. Okay, trust me. You can't prove me wrong. That's the thing. You can't actually prove me wrong about that. Right. Anyway, where are we? Assets, UI. It's like these Nostradamus predictions. Have you noticed they're always like, as long as it's way into the future. So you can predict anything you want as long as it's way into the future, long after you're gone. Then nobody can prove you wrong. Right? Nobody can say, oh, that didn't happen. That's why you don't say it's next week. I don't say, you know, oh, next week. You know, I didn't say next week Joe Rogan's freaking nephew's going to watch the tutorial, because you'd be like, it didn't happen, told you it wouldn't. Right? That's why you say it's years from now. And then you can say whatever you want. So no one will prove you wrong. All right, anyway, so we've got a UI tab. So we'll call it a manual tab. Manual tab. Put that on my tab. Oh, put this on my tab. That's what we're doing. Are you ready? Now, it's an image, sadly. We could make it a raw image, though, right? It doesn't really matter what it is. Actually, I don't know about that. Because I know... No, I think as long as we have this raycast target, basically, we probably could use a raw image if we wanted to. But because it won't show up, right? Because it's menu tab. Yeah, it's not set as a sprite. So we'll just set it as a sprite. It's fine. So what we'll need to do is go into menu tab, because it's using an image. I just set it to a sprite 2D UI single. Clamp is fine. And remember what I was saying about maximums, right? We can set that to like a maximum of 256, keep our costs down for WebGL, and we can compress it and do whatever we want with it. So there you go. Isn't that amazing? Now we can make it look like that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's pretty good, actually. I like that. Sound and vision. What looks good? Can't stop burping. I like that one, you know. Oh, here we go. Now we can squish it in. Oh, hey, that's just the job. That is. Hoo-hoo. Hoo. All right. So button, tab. Do you know what? I'm just gonna call it tab 1. Well, no, didn't we give him control and AV? All right, tab AV then. Just try and be consistent. Text AV. Because I was going to originally say audio and visual, sound and vision. I think I like that better, you know, sound and vision. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. We can call it whatever we want. We could call it stinky ass ketchup monster if we wanted to. And then I was thinking of like, because it's supposed to be tabs, sticking it underneath like that. Yeah, we could do that. I don't know. We'll see how we feel about that. So this one will be the control tab. The thing is, though, what we'd need to do is... Actually, I don't even know if you can do that. You'd have to do that and swap their respective positions. Ooh, I don't even know if you can do that. I'm gonna ask Jibbity. I don't know. I've never tried to do that before, actually. I like trying new things. Depends what it is. Someone was like, "Yeah, mate, do you want to drink a bottle of bleach, jump off a cliff, and have someone kicking the balls when you land on the bottom?" I'd be like, "I'm good, thanks." So I don't, there are limits to what I would try, but yeah, not normally, as long as it's not nothing like that, I'm down. Right, let's see, Jibbity, Jibbity, Jibbity. God damn it! Right, I wanna create UI tabs to switch context in my Unity game. I have therefore placed the later tabs, the inactive tabs, behind the active tab in the hierarchy. However, should the player change this, will I be able to restructure the draw order in the hierarchy with code? Yes, you can restructure the draw order in Unity's hierarchy. I guess you could, because you could. There's a few ways I can think of that you could do it by destroying and recreating the objects in the order that you want them in. But I wonder if there's a way just to move the objects. Oh, here we go. Yeah, set sibling index. You can use the transform.setSiblingIndex method to change the position of a game object within its parent's hierarchy. Ooh, this is new. All right, we'll have a go at that. We'll give that a go, because I think that'll look quite nice. Okay, so that one's sound and vision. This one's going to be controls, I guess. Yeah, I think controls makes sense. And I'm not sure what... Actually, the white looks pretty good because the buttons are white and the controls are white. So it's almost like kind of intuitive that they should be white, actually. Just going to move them up a little bit, though. Just a tad. There we go. How's that look? I think that looks bloody fabulous. Bloody fabulous. Bloody marvelous. All right, so how do we set this up? Well, we need to teach our menu about these new two tabs. And we also need to teach our menu that there are now two pages which are separated. So just to keep things simple, I'm just going to do game object controls AV, public game object controls control, and then our buttons need registering as well. So we've got a public button. Although, you know what? We don't even need to do that. If ever you can get away without doing it that way, it's probably better. And we can indeed, because what we can do is set these up as on-click game object interactions, right? So on-game, on-click controls, we want to say control set active to true, and we want to say AV set active to false, and then vice versa on this one. So we don't need to register these actually. So this is the AV button. So we want AV enabled to true, and we want controls enabled to false, falsicles. Now, what we probably did is we probably broke some of our references because they're no longer the same buttons. Because I copied and yeah, there you go. We're missing all of these. So let's just close these because these are good. Okay, so I lost controls. So that's that one. That's that one. Shit, I need to add a new control as well, which was the whole point of doing this in the first place. Weird. Why are we one short? Is show controls one? Oh yeah, show controls is the name of the option. Yeah. Okay, that's correct. Now, I don't want to stick them at the bottom. I don't want to stick them at the bottom. Because like they're part of this really, right? They're part of like the look functionality. So I either want them at the very, very top, or I want them after the sensitivity. I think I'll just stick them at the very, very top. All right, so the first thing we need to do is create our new objects. Now these are going to be toggles, but we need to like set them up specifically. Sure, I said these, it's only one thing. So I'm going to call it look mode. How is it normally worded? I'll just call it look input mode. It'll make sense when you see the options, right? Why though? Why does it have that grey box? I don't know. That is not in the same position as that one. Not on your Nelly, it's not. 1.158 A's. Wait, that's not the 18.499. Yeah, see, I knew it. Put them both at 20. 19, 18, 18. There we go. Button normal. Text normal. Button inverted. Text inverted. Because we might want to add some more shit later on anyway, so at least we've got room now. We also need to make these look... yeah, we also need to do this thing where we make them look like the active tab and not the active tab. So we are still going to need to do some... Oh, and that Z index thing or whatever Jibbity said we can do with the pushing it to the front. We need to do that as well. So we are going to need some code for these. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to put some code somewhere. All right, so we need to go back to my menu. Hang on a minute. Yeah, we need to insert that. So it comes just before the sensitivity settings. So if I go to control, there it is, look mode. And I need to make sure that goes in the correct order. But now my menu code needs changing as well. I left my emails open. That was me. Just close those. All right. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Right, what are we doing? So, we still... We don't add toggle buttons, but we do... Yeah, no, we already added the references. I gotta remember how I did this now. Okay, so these are toggles and sliders, right? Okay, so basically you can see here, my toggles are defined by indexes here. So this might need changing now. So let's look at our indexes. Okay. So I said 0 is a toggle, 1 is a toggle, and then the next one is 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Should have been that one. So 9 is 10 and 10 is 11. Now. And there's a new toggle as well, which is actually selected index absolute equals 5. There we go. So now it knows if it's none of these numbers, it's going to be a slider, otherwise it's a toggle. So that's the first thing we need to change. The next thing I need to change is when we save and apply settings based off index numbers. Or do I do that directly in the other component? Pika, hi Cabby, you started your stream late today and I got an early morning tomorrow, so I'll join you in the next stream instead. Bye. Alright. Bye-bye. Yeah, I can't stream during business hours if I've got real world stuff to do, because I can't go and sort my ID out now because they're all closed. So I don't have a choice. Oh, okay, yes, I remember. I remember. We have a separate settings script. Menu settings. Okay. So here I need a control toggle of look mode. Right, and here is where we set everything into the save data. Okay, so something else we have to do. So now we need to create a new field. Such a pain. Yeah, I wish maybe I could have designed this to be a little bit more robust, but I didn't think I was going to be adding that many more things. So the way settings works is it's a CSV type thing, but it's hashes the delimitation. So before we do our sensitivity settings, actually these are volumes. Wait, why would volumes be 0, 0, 0? Were those really volumes? Let me just pop this out. That's my default save data, depending on whether it's mobile or not. So the first one is full screen, false. The second one is bloom, true. Then, yeah, it is volume. I don't know why the defaults would be 0, 0, 0. Yeah, that's incorrect. I messed up there. What should it be? I think it's 1, 1, 1. Or maybe it is 0. I don't know. Oh, yes, it is 0, 0, 0. Yes, because 0 means it's at 0 decibels of its default volume. It goes down to like minus 80 or something. So you basically turn them down. So 0, 0, 0 means it's defaulted at full volume. Like you can go into the plus numbers, but then you start distorting and clipping. So 0, 0, 0 is correct, actually. So our first three zeros are volume, and then the one after that, so that's there, wants to be our true or false as to whether we're using inverted or not. So default, I'll say false. So I just want to add false there and add false there. So our new default save data includes a value for this new setting. There we go. So our default data now includes a value for the new setting. In menu settings, on disable, we save our settings to the cloud. We've got an apply settings. Do we not apply those settings after save? Yeah, some of them I don't really need to because the volume. Okay, so both full screen does it as you interact with the controls. So does bloom. So does volume. Look, mouse sensitivity is basically read from every frame anywhere, so we don't need to update anything on that one. And so do pad prompts and show controls. Yeah, and so will inverted look, because we'll put it in the we'll put it in the third person controller. So this one wants to be look mode, current value, and it doesn't understand. Oh, there you go. We can say is on because it's toggle. There we go. So we added the new field to update our save data string, which then goes across to the cloud. Now apply settings. We want to make sure we need to create a variable now on our control system that will record this value. So we want it above mouse X. So we'll hide in inspector, hide in inspector, we'll make it a public bool look. I should call it look invert because then true false. True false makes more sense. If it's named, if we're basically, because true or false doesn't make sense in terms of look mode. What does look mode true or false mean? Who knows, right? But if we say look invert, then we know that true means yes, we are inverting, and false means no, we're not inverting. So if we instead call it look invert, I think that's a better name for it, because then we'll say true is inverted and false is not inverted. The problem is, okay, but there's a problem in doing that. Here's the problem. The problem is we labeled our control. So the way these toggles work is they're normally on or off, right? So on is true and off is false. But we just said that look invert is normal or inverted. However, this button will set it to true and this button will set it to false, but we just said inverted means are we inverting or not? So there's a few ways we could do it. We could just put in some code that says, okay, it's actually the other way around for this particular control. Or we could just rename this so that it works in the same way as the other ones. So if I just put inverted look mode and then say I could just swap the buttons around as well and do it that way, like physically just swap the buttons around and it would do the same thing. I might do that anyway, actually, because I think they should be, I think normal should come first and inverted should come second. Because it's always like, I don't know, I feel like it's just good practice to always put the most common option. Most people probably don't give a shit. What you expect to be the most common option first and then get more and more, like, you know, niche and specific with it. So I'm going to swap those around in the hierarchy and I'm going to physically swap them around. So they'll still return the same values because that's how they're wired up. But now it will show us, wait. Did I just... What am I doing? But normal used to be on. Yeah, I should have left them... Oh my god. I should have left them the same name. Because that normal button is going to set it to true. What is happening? Didn't I rename? I'm so confused. This one is definitely inverted. If this is the one that was original, I'm so lost now. I don't know which one was the original one. I don't know if this was the original on or if I've renamed it now. I've actually gotten myself mixed up. I can test it by looking at this. So button on is normal and button off is inverted. Yeah, so what the hell just happened? But we're saying, do you want inverted on or off, right? So inverted on means normal is actually inverted. See what I mean? I thought I just did this though. But then it was... I don't know. I'm confused. We'll double check it in a second. But this should now be correct because we're saying is inverted on or off. If you word it like that, right? Is inverted on or off? Inverted on is inverted, inverted off is normal. Yeah, that's what I wanted. But then I want them the other way around. You know what it might be? Is that might be on a grid. So when I swap them around in the hierarchy, it automatically swap places with them. No, it doesn't. Wait, they both say inverted now. Why do they both say inverted? What is going on? I just didn't rename inverted to normal, I think. Am I going insane? What is happening? Do they actually swap if I swap them in the hierarchy? Because they would if they had a grid on them. I don't think they do have a grid on them. No, they don't swap. Right, let me just double check this again. Inverted true is inverted. Inverted false is normal. That's correct. But I still want them... I swear I did this already. I still want them to appear the other way around. Because, I don't know, it just makes more sense. I just think it's better. Okay. This time I'm happy that it's set up correctly. Yeah, kind of. Right, hang on. Stick that over there a little bit more. Looks good to me. So that'll still be wired up to do the same thing. Inverted true, inverted false. But they appear in the order that I want them to appear in. But they're wired up to do what I want them to do. Okay. Good. So now we say whether inverted look invert is on. Is invert true or false? And then here where we set up our new variable for it, now we need to renumber all these, right? Because it's going to be number 5, but now 5 becomes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. It's a toggle, so I'll just do that. We know it's number 5, and we know it's data. Actually, I didn't declare it. Oh, we're declaring it now. So we're saying data inverted. Okay, equals convert to bool. Then here we can say, okay, this sets the dials to whatever they're supposed to be. Okay. So it might say look inverted. Yeah, look invert is on equals dat inverted. Okay, so that's the part that updates the control to whatever the current settings are for when you first open the settings menu. And then this final part sets the values in the game where they need to be set. So we just made something for that. So we just got the system control inverted look invert, whatever the fuck I called it, look invert equals dat invert inverted. There we go. Done. Okay, I still didn't. So these tabs should shift. So if we run this now, although they really won't though. Okay, you know, I'm going to unwire those up. I'd rather just control it all through the menu rather than have. I don't like this because it can't do everything we want it to do. So I'd rather just have the script do everything. Otherwise, you sat there scratching your head in the future when you forget and you're like, okay, why is this still doing this thing? And you forgot that there was some things over here. So let's set up our tabs in the menu as well, because there's so many more things we need to do than just enable and disable things with them. So I'm going to do two buttons. So we want a button tab AV and a button tab control. Our tab AV and our tab controls needs some listeners subscribed to. So we are I should have still called it button though. Just give me a second. I like to be consistent. This is how I learned Visual Basic, you see. This is also why I write things the way that I do. I realized that the other day, actually. Yeah, I think maybe my teacher taught me to do it that way, actually, which is weird. Apparently that's not the standard. But the way, because basically, right, in Visual Basic back in the day, you would have a bunch of variables, but things weren't as organized as well as they are now in like Windows Forms and in Unity. So you had to have a clear indication of what it was you were like writing about. So the way our teacher taught us, and I really appreciate this because it really helped. So you would have like labels. So the way our teacher taught us, I think that our teacher said to do it like this, right? Label high score, right? Label, I don't know, player name or whatever, right? And whatever, so if it was a button, it would be like button and then whatever it was, click play, right? But I was like, that's a little longer than I like, because I like things short and concise as well. I was like, I think I'm going to try to abbreviate every object type to 3 letters. So I took that idea and I was like, okay, my labels are LBL. And then whatever, hello world. And my buttons are BTN, button, click, right? And that's where it comes from, basically. So my colors are colors, right? Color, buttons, inputs. Like I always start with the object type name. Now, custom classes in a way kind of show you what they are already, but they didn't used to. You didn't always, not everything had its own custom class back in the day. So that's why you would like start off by saying what object type it was first, so that you knew that, okay, this is a label, this is a button, this is a whatever. You can kind of see that now by class types anyway, so it's maybe a little bit redundant, but I don't know, I like it. It makes it easier to find stuff. But that's where that comes from. So that's why I just wanted to change that from tab to button tab, because like it is a button, and I don't know, that's what I call my buttons. All right, but you don't have to do it that way. It's just but it does make things easier. It really does. It really, really does. Tab AV. But Jibbity is always capitalizing this first letter, because like I think the industry standard now is just to do like class name with a capital C, method name. You see what I mean? And this is how I think this is how people do it now. But I've gotten so used to doing it this way that I that's why. And with my new system now that I'm doing this, I've actually doubled down on that method, because I'm like, look, it's quicker to type like an internet address. It's quicker to keep everything in lowercase if possible. So my little URL system of talking to components through the system manager, I've purposefully made sure it's all in lowercase. I mean, that isn't because it's like, if it's long, then I Still like the camel humping, but I like to abbreviate and keep it lowercase because it's just so much quicker to like get to it. But yeah, everybody has their little ways of doing things, I guess. I find that the best way though. I've been doing it for so long like that now, it just feels weird if I don't do it like that. Button AV on click add listener. So we can do a button listener of like click tab AV. Yeah, we haven't set that up yet. Let's just flesh these out. Hang on, to make sure that's correct. So all my clicks are like down here. I like to keep my clicks together. All right, we'll put it at the top because it kind of controls everything above it, right? And I'll be doing a click tab control. All right. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so now we need some code to handle our tab AV and our tab code. Okay, settings lost our references as well for controls, which makes sense. Let me just get those back in. So look invert is look mode. So I'm going to change the object name as well. Because like I say, it's just consistency is always the best. Otherwise you sat there later thinking, where the hell is look invert? I can't find the object look inverse. And then you remember, oh shit, I originally called it look whatever you called it. And then you decided to rename it later on. And you just get so lost and confused so easily. Especially when you have like hundreds of things. Okay. Missing mouse X. And given that it only takes you like half a second, it probably saves you more time in the future. It really does. Pad prompts. Show controls. There we go. Am I in menu or settings? I'm in menu. Yeah, I want to be in menu. Yeah, we're actually done with settings now. No, we're not. This is settings. What am I talking about? These are tabs for settings, aren't they? Fool. You fool! Okay, so what I also want to do is have like an on and an off color. So what I can do is set up a color 32. And I'm going to do color tab on and a color 32, color tab off. Which almost sounds like a lightweight insult. Just tab off, will ya? Just freaking tab off. Why don't you? Sick to death of you. Right, so tab on is white because I quite like that. It looks pretty good and it matches the rest of our interface. So I'm going to set that to white. And then I just want a slightly darker grey. I don't know what it wants to be yet, but we can change it in the inspector now until we find something that we like. Shit, wrong one. I think I want to go darker. I mean, we could test it right now. We could grab that colour. It sometimes helps to look at it. And where are my tabs? There they are. Do you see what I've done? I've put control first and AV second, but they appear the other way around. So again, it's just easier. If you're counting 3 things here, then you want to count 3 things down here. If they count in the same order, it's so much easier. But if they don't count in the same order, then you can get confused pretty quickly. So I like to keep that consistent as well. Yeah, I think if I do that though, I might want to change the text color. Okay, so maybe I'll go lighter. So for this situation, we'll probably just pick a color that I'm happy with, like that. Because you want to be able to read it still. But it just wants to look obvious which one's the active one, right? So I'll go a little bit lighter, just a tad. There we go. You know what? Let's go a little bit darker. I can't help it, okay. It's like my OCD or something. There. Big difference, I know. But it does, no, it makes a difference. Shut up. Don't judge me. Right. So I'm going to set that color in there. And now we have a reference to which colors should be which. Oh, yeah, no. Oh, shit, the bed. Yeah, the reason they weren't in the right order to begin with is because I need them in that order so that sound and vision is on top of controls when it's active. That's why they're not in the right order. But I still prefer them in that order. And if our code can do what it's promising to do, then that'll fix itself when it runs. So I'd rather it did that. I'd rather be consistent in my hierarchies and my object placements for the editor, and then rely on the code to pretty things up for the player, than the other way around. Okay, so everything we just did for menu actually isn't for menu. So those buttons actually belong to settings. And it doesn't know what a button is, so we'll teach it using Unity Engine UI. There we go. Actually, is a button and a text mesh button the same thing? I think they are. Yeah, that's so weird. See, I wish Unity was consistent. So an input field is not an input field if it's text mesh. It's a TM Pro input field or some shit. Text isn't text if it's text mesh. I don't know about the other things. But a button is still a button even if it's a text mesh button. Weird. Strange. Good job at being consistent, Unity. Anyway, whatever. Okay. And listeners that we added in settings, in menu rather, need to be brought over here as well. And so do these. So these controls are actually for settings. I'll put them at the bottom. And the listeners also want to be in settings. And then we need our... Yeah, I know. I'm getting you it, all right? Chill out. Chill out. It'll be okay. Yeah, I'm also supposed to remove listeners on disable as well. Jibity shouted at me the other day for not doing that. To be fair, I was asking it why the fuck my thing wouldn't restart properly, but that actually turned out to be the reason why. I thought we had a on disable, remove listeners. Maybe it wasn't this script. I thought it was though. Are we sure about that? Yeah, so it doesn't seem to matter most of the time. This one actually doesn't remove the listeners on disable, but one of my scripts does recently because it was causing me some issues. Which script was it then? I thought it was this one. Apparently it's not. Because I'm not sure what the code is to do it. Was it? I wonder if it was character select. Was it character select? No, I don't know where the hell that was. I don't know. Let's just ask Jibbity. It'll tell me. And closing menu, touch inputs do not restore. Did I fix that bug? I can't remember. I think I did. I think I did that. Alright, Jibbity should tell me what it is. Dot remove listener. Alright, there it is. Yeah, I probably should get into the habit of doing this, to be honest. Stop renaming my methods. They don't have capital C's, okay? It's not the way I do things. Piss off. Oh, Jibbity, you make me so mad sometimes. Right, I asked you what the syntax was not to rename my freaking variables. Right, whatever. Method names. Alright, so click tab AV. So, I don't know if we're going to add active tabs. I can't imagine I would need that many more settings, to be honest. Famous last words. Alright, so the first thing we'll do is not click my stream. Wrong browser, wrong browser. There we go. Let's get that code that it gave me. Sibling index. Move the current active tab to the back. Active tab transform set sibling index. Active tab.transform.parent.child count -1. set the new active tab. Active tab equals new active tab. The currently active tab. Okay. Why doesn't it like that? Because that's a button. So grab its game object. Okay, so we can simply say which tab is the active one. I quite like that actually, because then in here we can add our color stuff, right? So we want to say no, it's the image component, I think. I actually think it's the image component. Yeah, it is. Image color equals tab color tab on, and I need to say I'd like to do a for each, but there's nothing to for each. I mean, for this, like I said, I'll probably only have 2 tabs. If I end up with more, then yeah, but that's the thing. How can this method know about the other buttons? I don't know which one it is. Okay, I guess I know it's a pain in the ass. I could do a function that says deactivate, like reset all tabs or something. But again, there's nothing to for each. See, if what I should have done is made a list of tab buttons and a list of tab game objects that correspond to the buttons, and the indexes line up. But like, there's 2 tabs for God's sakes. But there might be more in the future. All right, let's do it properly. I might end up adding more in the future. I was trying to be lazy, but it's probably going to take me even longer doing it that way. So we need system collection. Hang on, using system collections generic, so we can have a list. What we should really do is, instead of having the 2 buttons, we have one list of buttons. All right, and we say tab buttons. And I'll just set those in the inspector. And instead of having the controls as game objects, we do one public list of game objects. And we say tab objects. I could call them tab controls, I guess. Yeah, they're really kind of tab controls. Equals new list of game objects. Okay. And then what we can do here, so you might be thinking, well, how do we add a listener for a list when we don't know how big the list is? Well, this is how we do it. We can say for each button, whatever button in button tabs, tab buttons, and then we say btn on click add listener, and then what we do is we add an input to this method, right? So we need to do the same thing for controls. No, we don't, because we're only doing button listeners. So the way we figure out which button was clicked is we go to our. I need to for each. Okay, give me a sec. I need to do the same thing when I unsubscribe, but do the remove. So btn. On click remove listener. Okay, then I go to my did that say click tab AV? Yeah, so now it's just click tab, right? Click tab. So we can do it a few different ways, but probably the best way to do it is, since we're clicking on a button, it's a good idea to take the button as an input. So we can just do it again, button, right? And because this thing wants set active tab actually wants a game object, but instead of button tab game object, now we just say button game object. There we go, and it all does the same thing. But then we have to go back up to our listener and pass the button that was clicked to click tab, and it doesn't like that. Is that not how you do it? I thought you did it like that. Hang on. Okay, there. Cannot convert from void to Unity action. What? Cannot convert from void to Unity events to Unity action. I'm gonna have to ask Jibity about this. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. What am I doing wrong? No, why are you doing... Oh, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Oh, hang on. I said... I'm still saying... Wait, what? What? Where's my new... Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was going to say that's not my code anymore. The error occurs because you're trying to pass the result of click tab button, which returns void when called as an argument to remove listener. This isn't what Unity expects for remove listener. To fix this, you need to ensure the delegate you pass to add listener is the same as the one you pass to remove listener. I thought it was. Remove all listeners. That is not at all. That is not even close to the way you do it for a single one. What are you talking about? Ah, I think it's cheating now. That's cheating, that. Alright, well, it works. Anyway, it's happy. Okay, so that should remove all listeners for all buttons. Okay, whatever. So that should make that error go away. Yep. And now, when we go into our function, we can tell which button was sent, right? And then we send that button's game object to new active tab, and then that does the thing with the Z index. And then when I'm doing color here, before I set the color tab on, now I can say for each button in tab buttons, button get component image color equals color tab off. So what we do is we basically turn all the color tabs to inactive, and then at the end we say, okay, whichever the active one is, set that one to on, right? So that should be most of it. What we also need to do though is we need to activate the object with the same index. How do we do that? I need to activate the same object with the same index, which is like the pages of controls, right? So for that, again, I'll do a for each. So first of all, I want to turn them all off. So I want to say for all game objects, child or whatever, get object I prefer. It's not really, I like to use child for transforms because there's no really, a child can't be a game object, but anyway, whatever. I mean, it kind of can, but it's just, stop talking. Right, game object, get object in what did I call it? Tab controls. God damn, I remembered. Okay, tab controls. We want to say object set active. Oh, it's not called object, it's called get object. Get object set active to false. Turn them all off. Then we can get the index by saying int get index equals, right, it's the new active tab is only held as a button, so we need to say tab buttons and then pass it the new active tab, but we need to get the component of button for that tab. How the fuck do you get an index again? I've only started learning how to do this. Oh, the fuck do I get an index from that? Get index of. Fuck is get index? It's here somewhere. Ah! It's somewhere else in the project. I know it is. Get index. Get index. System objectives, opponents. So we mention a list, then we said dot index of, not get index of, it's just index of. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. So it is here, index of. There you go, index of. And I imagine that's a method, so we don't need the square brackets. There we go. And we just close the method. There we go. Okay, so now we've found the index. Because in the past I would have like literally iterated through them and found it myself, but you can literally do it in one line by just saying index of, which is nice. So now we've got the index. Now we can activate the same corresponding index of the controls objects, right? So we can say tab controls at position get index dot set active to true, and that will turn that page on. And now we can make as many tabs as we want. We can make 1,000 of them, and it'll just know how to turn them on and off. But like, as long as they're all set up in the list. Speaking of which, I must do that now because I will forget. So if we go to our settings, script, I'm going to delete this one now. All settings, we don't need this. Oh, tab buttons, here we go. There's only two. Freaking two. Whatever. So they must be in the same order. They must be in the same order. So I'm going to keep it consistent with what we see. So first is audio visual, then is controls, and then that's our buttons. What else does it want? It wants the pages of controls. So we've got controls control and controls AV. So on controls AV in there, controls control there, and then that one opens that one, and then that one opens that one, and so on and so forth. Now we could actually just set a route and get it to find all these things itself if I had any more than two, but yeah, for this it's fine. We can just manually link them in the inspector. It's absolutely fine. All right, so if we hit play now, what happens? Yeah, I'll tell you why that's happening. The reason that's happening is we didn't set the active tab. Because we only, if you look at this, right, we only set the active tab when a tab is clicked. So what we need to do is when we enable, we should set the active tab to the first tab, or at least do that in start. Now that's also going to give vastly different results, right? So you have to understand what the difference between those does, right? So if I do it this way, it means that whenever the player goes back to the settings menu, they are always going to be in tab 1, even if they were in tab 56 the last time. Now, if you want the menu to remember where they were and stay where they were, you can't do it this way. You need to do it in start, or you need to at least do a build to figure out whether you've initialized or not. But for this, there's 2 tabs, so who cares? And yeah, whatever. We'll just set it to active tab, and we'll set the active tab to tabs. Tab buttons, position 0. Is that the right object type? Or does it want a game object or whatever it wants? What am I doing? It wants, yeah, it does want a game object. That's fine, we'll just say game object then. Okay, so we give it the active tab of the first tab in the form of its game object. And now when we hit play, we shouldn't see that error. Unless I made a mistake somewhere else. Oh my god, I did. Control toggle instance not set to a instance of a reference. What? Did I miss a reference somewhere? Control toggle on enable. For gamepad prompts. Oh, yes. Okay, now I know what this is. I know what this is. So the menu is not meant to be open at the start because it relies on too many like variables set at the game level. So I just need to give them a chance to initialize. So if we hit play first and close the menu, hopefully close main menu and open settings. There we go. Okay, it didn't do what I wanted it to do, right? It said the colors worked, but that tab thing that it told me didn't work at all. Sound and vision's pushed to the back. So they do swap places, but they're the wrong way around. So let's take a look at the code and see what's happening. So it's in our set active tab. And it says active tab dot transform dot parent dot child count -1. Set sibling index child count -1. Wouldn't we just set it to 0? Wouldn't we just set that to 0? And not put it at the front? Let me find out. I've never used this before. No, that basically does the same thing. They do swap places though. I'm going to shout at Jippity. So the draw order does change when active tabs are changed, but the active tab appears below the inactive siblings. Why is it setting active tab to new active tab? Oh, I think, okay, I think active tab. Okay, I think I know how it's supposed to work. Because I'm like, why would you set the active tab? So what this is doing, okay, because this is called active tab, but that's called new active tab. So I'm not supposed to set active tab. I think I see how it's supposed to work. So when I call that function, set active tab. No, I actually don't though. I don't set active tab. I do let this thing set the tab. Yeah, I don't touch active tab. We can check. If I remove the active tab reference, it will show me where. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I do that. I set the active tab to 0. So what I should probably be doing instead, well, it needed to be something, right? Okay, so try setting the active tab, because we'd have to fool it into knowing which ones to put to the back and which ones to put to the front, I think. So I think I just need to tell it that tab 1 was the active tab, but now we want tab 0 to be the active tab in order to get it to push. What? In order to push the new active tab in front of the old, even though there is no old active tab. See what that does. Or Jibbity did just completely gaslight me and it just doesn't work. That's also possible. Whatever, I don't need to close that, I can just open this. Nope. Yeah, I'm right, it's still... No, it's still putting... It puts the inactive tab in front of the active tab. Yes! It's screen space overlay. Don't fucking gaslight me, Jibbity. You fucked the code up. Don't you fucking dare. Oh my god. Why am I such... I just threw my very important pills in some muscle spasm kind of fit. It was horrendous. Why are you giving me 3 solutions? How about you just give me the code that does what I want it to do? I'm not asking to put Elon Musk on Mars, for fuck's sake. I'm just asking you to stick one tab in front of another one. Seriously. Solution 3, force Unity to refresh rendering order. No, it moves. The thing is, right? It does move them in the hierarchy. It's just not moving them to the right place, you freaking flid. Don't give me this fucking... Look, see? You can see the hierarchy reorders itself. Jibbity, you're just putting the hierarchy... You're putting the thing at the bottom. The active tab should be at the bottom. Okay, I'm actually going to... Okay. The hierarchy does change. My canvas is overlay. But don't forget, draw order is linear, top to bottom. So instead of the active tab brought to the top, which it currently does, we need to place it at the bottom. You gaslighting piece of shit. I see the issue now. You are correct that the draw order... Yes, I know I'm... You... Oh, jibbity, jibbity, jibbity. Jibbity. Adjusting the code. Good God. I wouldn't trust this thing. God help us if this thing starts driving cars. Good God. God help us all. Right. Alright. I didn't want 6,000 comments in it, to be honest. I just wanted the code, but thank you. Thank you for the War and Peace novel that came with it for free. It's great. Alright, let's try that and see if we got it right this time. Yeah, it's just getting confused. Like, I get why it would think that, right? Because, like, normally things at the top have precedence over things at the bottom. right? Because you deal with the top things first. But that's the problem, right? Is it's drawing it's drawing the things at the bottom over the top of the things at the top because it draws the things at the top first. So in order to make it look, draw it in front of the other thing, it needs to actually be at the bottom. Yay! Yeah, that's really good. That's really cool. I'm actually going to move controls a little bit further right though, so it only does it a little bit. Because when you're in controls, it actually wipes out some of the sound and vision text. And there's plenty of space there, so it's just like, What I also need to do though is I need to put like an L1. If you're in gamepad mode, because I've set this menu up so that it supports gamepad as well. If it's in gamepad mode, it needs to show like L1, R1, so that you can swap tabs on the gamepad as well. And then we're done. So like I say, I'm just going to move that. But yeah, that works really well. It's weird though, right? Because controls, that is kind of weird how it was blocking sound and vision. Because if you look at where, I'll press Control and do, right? This is where the tab was. There. It's not blocking the text, sound and vision. So it must be like, they must be moving slightly as well when it's doing that. Because it should already be set up so that it doesn't block the text. Because I set it up like that already. But something about it was, I don't know, blocking the text. I'm not sure why. It's kind of weird. Alright, we're looking good. And since I need to put some button prompts, I'm actually going to move them over as well, because I also need to do some telegraphing for gamepad. So I need a raw image with a texture of L1. For gamepad, right? And R1. Now, because things were moving, and if it all looks like that, I might actually just center it. Oh, shit. I did select all of those, or I thought I did. I think that looks better. Let's test it, though. I was going to come out and back in. For some reason, I had a flashback of... when Enviro crashed that time and I lost like hours of work. And I'm just thinking, oh, this has been quite a productive 2 hours, actually. And then I just thought that, oh my god, imagine if it crashed right now and I lost everything. So let's just close and reopen it so we know that everything we just did isn't... I don't think it will crash, but, you never do. When it happens, you never think it'll happen, but it does. So... Right, let's see what this looks like. Then we can set up those gamepad prompts and the functionality for it. And then we're done. Where is my menu? City, canvas, menu. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like it moves. That's much better though. I think it looks great. I honestly do. I think it looks great. Okay, so the one final thing I want to do is I want to put my inputs. I want to wire my inputs up for L1R1. So let's make sure that our controls class. I don't want to look at the code. I want to look at the input map. That's not the input map. There it is. Yeah, I don't think I have tab left, tab right. It would be UI. Yeah, I don't. Because this is new. Okay, so I'm going to add tab left. My gamepad's turned off. I could just search for the input, but I'd rather just listen for it. Oh no. Is it because... Is it because I have to reopen this after turning the gamepad on? Are you kidding me? Why is that not working? I'll just... Left shoulder is probably called. Left shoulder. Left shoulder gamepad for the gamepad scheme. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's not working. Strange. Shit, I can't listen. Right shoulder. Gamepad on gamepad. Alright, save asset. Okay, let's just try reconnecting it real quick. Normally it just works. It normally says in the console when it connects. How strange. What? Okay, I don't know. It's not seeing my gamepad for some strange reason. Oh, I bet Nox is interfering with it. Yeah, I bet Nox is stolen it. Because I was going to say the only other time I've really seen that is when Steam has it. I bet Nox stole it. Strange. I'd probably have to restart it again. Let's see if it picks it up this time. It takes forever for this to switch off. It has to have been Nox that stole it. I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, I'll worry about that later. So in menu settings, the easiest way to do it actually, I think, especially when you've only got a couple of things like this, is just to put in a public, and we need input manager. Input system. is to put an input action reference and do whatever you want. Input and then you can literally just put them straight into the inspector, which is nice. Tab left, tab right. But you do need to convert them into input actions. So all you do is declare them again as input actions. Fuck it, I'm just going to say tab left. We don't have an update on it, do we? No. So if input control scheme is either dual shock gamepad or X input gamepad, then else. My else is I don't have a reference to those objects. Actually, if we're dealing with images, then let's just, it's not really an image though, it's a raw image. What? Raw image, raw image. What are you smoking, you piece of shit? Alright, image tab right. Okay. Then we can say image tab left. I'm actually just going to set the game object to false. Alright. However, if it is gamepad that's being used, we want to show those, and we also want to check for those buttons being pressed. Now we could put listeners on them, but since we're in update anyway, it's probably better just to say if tab left was pressed this frame, then we can just call the function for okay. This is where because now we're dealing with state machines. Okay, this is how you would actually do it. Are you ready? Let's do it again. Let's do it properly since we've set it up as a list. For this to work with multiple tabs, you need an index now of like, yeah, tab index is fine. And it's going to start at 0. So if we're going left, then tab index goes down. If tab index is less than -1, then tab index equals, what did I call them? Tab buttons dot count -1, meaning go to the last tab. So if you go off as far left as you can and press left again, it'll just go to the far right. Come back with a Hitler mustache. There's 2 references to Hitler in 2 hour, 2 hour stream. That's kind of weird. Tab index up if tab right. What am I doing? Okay, this isn't the way. Wait. I'm putting this in the wrong place. Right, I'm getting hungry. That's why. I am getting hungry. All right, I start making mistakes when I get hungry. All right, so we say tab index up. This time we say if tab index equals tab buttons dot count Windows update. Can you not see I'm busy? Then we just set tab index back to 0. Okay. Then, only if we changed it though, we can now call the method, and the method wants click tab button. We can actually send the button from the buttons list, right, to that method. So we can actually say click tab, and then we can say tab buttons at position tab index, and it'll be the same as clicking the button, like as far as the code's concerned. Shit. Ah, what is happening? Okay. I'm trying to press Control and C, and I'm keep hitting different keys. Right, okay, there we go. So it's the same outcome, it's just that one goes up and one goes down. But we only want to do the click if the function was actually pressed on this frame. Hang on. Okay, I did miss a line of code. I don't know where that went. This one should say tab right. There we go. Okay, so we can test that. We might need to link some things in the inspector. Image tab left, image tab right. Where are you? Settings. Image L1 is tab left. Image R1 is tab right. And to be honest, like really, I should probably set up the Xbox ones as well, because at the moment this is just assuming it's DualSense. And in my code here I have, if it's DualShock or Xbox, really I need to branch this out and say, if it's DualShock, show the DualShock. If it's Xbox, show the Xbox. And I will, but right now I don't care. Just whatever. Alright, so I'm using the mouse as far as the game's concerned, but if I just push on my controller, nothing happens. Because it can't find, that's why, because it can't see my controller. Right, we need to get to the bottom of this. I can't test my controller if my controller isn't picked up by Unity. Alright, I'm just going to repair my controller. See if that fixes it. DualSense controller. Remove. There's no knocks now. Nothing else here should be interfering with it. So I don't know. Okay, I repaired it anywhere. Let's reopen Unity with the controller turned on. Yeah, I've never really seen it struggle with the controls. Unless something like Steam is open, then Steam just kind of steals the controller. But again, I think I would have expected to see like DualShock control connected. Let me just check my... I haven't like accidentally disabled something, have I? Right, so it says device DualShock gamepad. So should work now. Oh, also, no, system control should still be working though, I think. The only other thing I can think is that my control system's not like, because it hasn't gone through its normal routines. Maybe I'm forgetting something that needs to happen for that to start working properly, but I don't think I am. Menu. Okay, let me check. What does core control system say? My scheme is keyboard and mouse. Okay, I had to click in the window first. I don't know. It's kind of like how it's acting in web, to be honest. And then as soon as I did that, and then I pushed on the analog stick, you can see it's detected DualSense gamepad. But we're getting a null reference. Oh, yes, I did forget to do something. I did forget, didn't I? Yeah, so I said you need to convert them into input actions, and I declared the input actions, but I didn't actually find them. Sure. What we need to do is say tab left equals input tab left, and tab right equals input tab right. Because you can't use input action references as input actions, but you can. And also, Jippity shouted at me for that as well. Apparently, it's dot action. Here, it's supposed to be dot action. It works fine though, so that's just Jippity being a little bitch, honestly. But you know what? It's probably right. It's not always right though, but it probably is right that it should be action. But it works without action. All right. Because if it couldn't work without any action, then I wouldn't be able to work because I never get any action. Ha! Oh, I'm funny. All right. There we go. So as soon as I can R1 tabs, L1 tabs, and if I move my mouse, oh, you're using the mouse now, you don't need those. Oh, gamepad, you need those. Oh, mouse, you don't need those. All right, so it's working great. Obviously, again, I should probably set up the Xbox ones as well, but I will get around to that. It's not my top priority for now. So yeah, that all seems to be working fine. I still need to tell... Yeah, let's do that last bit, actually. I need to tell my character controller to invert the camera if inverted is set to true. Okay, I can't leave that on. I need to make sure that main menu's on, but then menu's off. And then start and character selector on. And then I need to be in my third person controller script. There it is. Okay. What I'll do... what did I call it? I thought it was inverted. Look invert. There we go. Okay. Do I trust Jeopardy? You know what? Why not? I already kind of know how to do it, but I'm just too lazy. Okay, we'll do this as a new chat because I feel like I was connected to a sort of not very smart part of the brain last time, so I'm going to try and get to a slightly smarter part of the brain. Come on, smart GPT, smart GPT. To invert the vertical rotation when look invert setting is enabled, you can multiply the sensitivity Y by -1. I knew that. Then we've got final test, and then I can go and get some food. To be honest, because I added a new thing, I'm going to clear my play prefs and start a new account. Because the previous settings key would have been 1 short, so that might have caused some problems, so I want to make sure I'm testing it properly. Alright, so click to start. Null reference, what the fuck? What? If system cloud is not ready, await cloud set active to true in setup, and setup is saying it can't find it. Okay. It's literally there. It's right here. Line 53 of setup. If system cloud is not ready, then await cloud dot set active to true. What's wrong with that? Oh, that's my little spinning thing, isn't it? But that's weird because it is ready. So what probably happened is cloud didn't come back as being ready. I think is ready is either hidden in inspector. It's got to be hidden in inspector. We were it signed me in. It assigned me a UID. Everything went through normally. What? I'm so confused. Oh, wait, I know what it is. I remember what it is. Remember when I was like, oh, yeah, it's not a good idea to not do this. Right, there was a script I recently changed. I bet it was set up. And I was like, it's going to be slightly better if you don't do it this way and find it and search it. So as I find them, I'm going to go and set them to public and then set them in the inspector. And I forgot to set it in the inspector. Where the fuck is setup? Yep, there it is. It didn't have system manager reference, that's why. All right. Okay, it was still UID 28. Thinks we can continue, but really we didn't get off the ground to begin with. Wait, what the fuck? Why won't it let me pick new game? I don't know. Whatever. It's still fine. Alright, so we're in the game. So up looks up, down looks down, which is the way I like it. On touch, though, it's the opposite way around, which is kind of weird. So what I'm probably still going to want to do is... Look at that. I can't move up and down. Oh, I think it's because... Yeah, I didn't know about those tabs before, so the index gets a bit confused. Okay, but let's change gamepad prompts to inverted. Back out. Up is still up and down is still down. With the mouse, up is up, down is down. That's not working at all. Jibbity, what did you do wrong? Up is up, down is down. It's not doing it. Jibbity. What does my game settings say right now? I can't see those variables because they're hidden, but I can look at my save data. So my save data says true for inverted. Okay, so I think everything that I did is correct. I think the bit that Jibbity did was wrong. I think it's not working. Now we can test this. Okay, the first thing I want to know is inversion being applied in the character controller where it's supposed to be? Inversion is being applied. Oh, weird. Okay. It is the other way around now. So I'm guessing that we have to restart the character controller if we make a change to it for some strange reason. It said, oh, what the hell? It said that, also that says, why does it say gamepad prompts? That's not supposed to say gamepad prompts. Oh, because there's a label on it, that's why. Okay, I know why that says gamepad prompts. I didn't change the label on it. So inverted, nothing changes. normal, nothing changes. And it's still saying inversion applied. But I think if I restart the third person controller, which doesn't really make any sense, because isn't that running in... Isn't camera rotation running on every frame? Yeah, in late update. I need to publicly expose... Yeah, no matter what inversion is being applied, it's set to true. And now it's set to false. So that's updating. Yes. 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 Everything looks correct. Okay, let me just expose this value so we can see what's happening. So look invert is currently false. Continue, it's still false and it's behaving normally. If I change it to... I forgot to change the label again. Right, but it's saying it's true. It's reflecting it as... This is really weird. It's saying that it's inverted right now, but it's not. So that's wrong. It's highlighting the wrong button. So I set it to normal. Okay, it doesn't update it there. I think it updates it when we close. I don't think it's just updating it at all. Yes, not updating it at all. We should just make it so that... Oh, I can set the toggle to do it, I guess. The toggle should just do it like straight away. But I wonder if it's just going to get wiped out again. But we never taught the toggle what to do in that scenario. I'm lost. Where the hell is my menu settings? Bollocks. What am I? Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Start. Oh, because I'm in start canvas. We don't care about that. Right, menu. Here we go. Menu settings. Controls control. Look invert. What should that say? Oh, I can't see because the fucking... Inverted look mode. Inverted look mode. I don't know why I bothered with the label, because like they're labeled correctly anyway. I suppose the label was because I changed it on like mobile and stuff. Because I have to change mouse. Actually, I don't even know if I'm doing that. I have to change mouse to touch on mobile. That's one of the reasons why I do it. Anyway, whatever. Inverted look mode. That's fixed that. Is on. Okay, that might be why. Its default is set to is on, but it should be set to is off. Its default. Ah, this is why it wasn't updating. Okay, this is why it wasn't updating. Yeah, we had to teach the toggle what to do as well. I thought the code was there in the settings thing or whatever, but apparently it's not. I don't think that is doing it in real time. That's the problem. I am kind of repeating myself though, if I'm being honest. It's not the most efficient system I've ever made. Invert look. Look invert. Look invert. And it's the same code here, isn't it? Yeah, this is not the most efficient thing I've ever made. Essentially, I'm repeating myself 3 times for every single setting, and I should just be doing it once. I don't know. Whatever, as long as it works. Shit, I thought I hit play one too many times. Right. Inverted is off. Yep. Okay, so let's go turn it on. And it says it's off. Good. So let's turn it on. Let's highlight it. I gotta fix this bug as well where it gets confused about which one's supposed to be highlighted. There we go, is on. And it actually went on. If we close settings, it stays on. Inversion applied. There we go. Yep, it's the other way around now. Yay, I did it. Now, let's make sure that when we leave and come back, so we don't need that, it remembers our setting, loads it from the cloud, and applies it automatically. Should do. It's on, yay. Yep, works perfectly. Okay, not perfectly because this... Yeah, you've got to wrestle with it a bit at the moment because it's... I know why that's happening. There we go, I'll turn it off. Yay! We have inverted Y look now. That the player can completely decide to choose however they like it, which is useful. Yeah, I guess my only complaint is I think on mobile it's still going to be the other way around by default. So like when it says it's inverted, it's actually not, and when it says it isn't, like you'll still be able to swap it, but basically if you look if you point up, if you move the up stick up, normal is look up, right? At least I think it is. That's how I see it. And inverted should be you look up and you look down, right? It's like the other way around. Which is exactly how this is set up now for gamepad and mouse. But the touch controls that came with starter assets, I guess they're programmed to do it the other way around for some weird reason. So I think I'd have to build it out and test it. But yeah, when I ran it just now in Nox, its default was the other way around. You look up and you go down and up. So that's what gave me the idea, like, oh shit, actually, yeah, that's something you should be able to change anyway. So it's still going to be kind of wrong. So I'm still going to probably want to change the way that works so that when it says it's... So for all control systems, up is up and down is down. Unless it's inverted, then down is up and up is down, right? Because I don't know, it feels a little clunky to me if mobile is like the opposite way around. So the only way around that, well, there's a few ways around it. I could actually just like swap the values around when I'm in mobile mode, but I think instead I'll just change the way touch controls sends its up and down values by default, and then when they invert, they'll match everything else. They'll match the mouse and the gamepad so that everything's consistent. I just like things to be consistent. But aside from that, yeah, it's great. And the index thing. So what I need to do, I know how to fix that. Basically, the index thing is when we go into a new tab. So we have this. We should have this selected index value or something. Where the hell is it? Is that not how I was doing it? Oh, it's driven by menu, that's why. It's driven by menu. Menu controls all of its children, which is why this thing's so fucking confusing. But settings, like, I struggled with settings, so I just made it its own script. But the overall controls for the individual controls is actually handled by menu. Yeah, so there'll be like a selected, yeah, there it is, selected index. All I need to do is reset selected index to 0 when we switch tabs. So when it says set active tab, is tabs in settings though, isn't it? Oh shit. Yeah, it actually is. That's kind of awkward. Okay, it's fine. What I'll do then is I'll do a public void reset selected. I forget, reset selected index. There we go. And then from settings, as tabs are changing. Yeah, so this is a bit of a weird mishmash because like settings is controlling its tabs but nothing else. And menus controlling everything else. Which is probably why I put the controls in, like, because I did put the buttons in the menu at first and then I was like, wait, no, this needs to be in settings because it's controlling the settings elements. But in actual fact, menu normally controls the settings elements. It doesn't really matter, but it's, yeah, it is a bit of a shit show. Whatever. So then when I change active tab, I don't even know if I have. So now I need. Oh fuck my life. Okay, it's fine. We can do it. Actually, I'm just gonna say get component in parent. I'm not gonna declare it as a local variable. I'm not gonna bother because it's only this one place we need to do it in. So here, when we set active tab, and we do this, I'm going to also say get components in parent menu reset selected index. There we go, and that should fix that as well. All right, I'm gonna get some food because it's 7:15. I'm starving. I've got a headache. But yeah, that should be fine. It should be great. Again, I think I want to swap the up and downs defaults by changing the touch controls themselves. Is probably how I'll do it. And then when you invert, it'll do the same thing. It'll swap them around again, but they'll at least be consistent. Because at the moment, I don't like the fact that if you look up on mouse and gamepad, you look up unless it's set to inverted. But on the mobile, the default for whatever reason is looking down when you look up. It's just the way these things have been programmed, I think. UI virtual joystick. I might even just be able to set these values to negative or something. Yeah, because that one's look, right? Although, oh, hang on. No, there you go. Oh, look at that. There's a button for it already. There you go. Now that's fixed. So they have that's good. I'm glad they did that. They've got an option for invert Y, and for whatever reason, they defaulted it to true. So we'll default that to false. Because my character controller actually changes that. So as long as these inputs send themselves correctly, which they now will, then yeah, my character controller will do the rest. So nice, we just fixed everything I wanted to fix, which is nice. There's still like extra buttons, and then there's the auto aim snowballs that I need for mobile, because I can't imagine how the hell you're going to hit targets otherwise. So I'm going to need to create a mobile only auto aim system, which will be great, given that I never play on mobile. But I don't know. I'm going to have to, really, because otherwise it won't be playable on mobile. Oh my god. Great. So I'll probably do that tomorrow or something. Alright, if I don't jump out the window before then, I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.